Welcome back to Risky Edges. It is Saturday, 16 November, just after 3 p.m. here in Taipei and across the water in Beijing. It is Friday night, 15 November, just after 11 p.m. in the U.S. West Coast. My name is Andres Chang, and we are live streaming. Thank you so much to my loyal subscribers and my loyal viewers. You make this channel possible. I'm so sorry I haven't given you more content and frequent content in this crazy past year, but a lot has happened, including Facebook locking me out of my account. I don't know why that happened, but I did make a new Facebook. Okay, and if you are in Taipei, please go to meetup.com and search Free Palestine Taiwan. You will find a meetup that I am hosting. Please attend. Uh, say what? Say what is hopefully one of many say what that I'll be doing with my friend Abby. Abby is in the Philippines, so maybe Abby is not my friend, pero ako prendo. Okay, so and today we're just gonna talk about racism. We're gonna get right into a specific racism act of racism that has happened. Um, Abby, can you please introduce yourself? And director, please bring in Abby. And Abby, please plug anything you want when you introduce yourself. And great to see you as always.
Yeah, good afternoon, Andres. Always a pleasure to see you there, and I hope you're avoiding the typhoons over there in Taiwan.
It's nuts, man. Like for the first time in, I could be exaggerating, but for the first time in a long time, probably since humanity existed, there have been three typhoons in Taiwan in the month of November. But this one, Typhoon Usagi, is gonna miss us completely.
Well, I'm glad
So,
to hear that. Glad to
yeah.
hear that. Yeah, so I'm here in the Philippines. I've been here for the last 2 years. So I'm for your viewers who are watching and your friends and so forth, your followers. My name is Abdullah, also known as the Cantigan Nomad. I'll say that slowly. Cantigan, Canadian-born Antiguan. Okay, Cantigan Nomad, born in Toronto, Antiguan parentage, uh, and Filipino by choice. My lovely wife is from Philippines, so I'm living here, and life is great. Sunshine's great. Mangoes are great. Fish is great. People are great. Life is great, and I'm not subjected to racial harassments anymore, unless, of course, I am interacting with people living in North America. So you and I talked about this offline, Andres, and that stuff that came out in the news last week about those abusive racial texts that were being sent out to black folks across America, also in Canada, not just the United States. When I saw that in the news a few days ago, I was like, okay, that's just another Thursday for me. Like black folks, we sprinkle racism on our cornflakes for breakfast, right? And we just eat that and continue on with our day. Unless, of course, we're being choked to death like George Floyd or, Trayvon Martin being chased down and shot or, Breonna Taylor or, oh, don't even get me started. If we're not being shot to death, strangled, choked, lynched, and so forth, uh, text messages being called and are we allowed to say it? Oh, I don't want you to get kicked out of
Just
Facebook
just to be
again.
safe, just to be safe, say the
The
N
the
word.
the the N word, the N word, right? Yeah, if somebody's saying that, eh, I'm not getting the life choked out of me by a racist cop. So it's like, you know what, eh, you just move on with it. So yeah, so that news went out. I'm sure you heard it. If your viewers haven't heard it, you can just Google that. It's on every major news channel in the U.S. Since last week about somebody, and they don't know who. Wink, wink. Is blasting out en masse uh, racially abusive texts, talking about go back to the plantation. You should be picking cotton, and slave life is just waiting around the corner from you. The bus is coming to pick you up. All this kind of stuff, and My goodness, I'm watching that and I'm thinking I'm just glad I don't live in Canada anymore because I don't have to be subjected to that until 2 days ago. Until uh, what do we want to call this? You- Um, Racism's ugly hand reached across the ocean from North America and tried to pull me back in, beckoning, like a beckoning call. Like, there's nowhere to hide, right? If you black, there's nowhere on this planet you can hide. So what happened was, can I tell the story, Andres? Is it okay?
Well, first, yes, absolutely. I do want you to say what happened to you, but first, let me just say, for our viewers, I'm Latino, uh, but I'm American. Abby is black. He's Canadian, um, and the difference between Canada and the U.S. is that Canada is just like the U.S., except they don't have any problems in Canada. Just kidding. No, and just to let the viewers know, after Trump was reelected, less than 7 days after he was reelected, okay, he's not even president yet. He won the election. He's going to be inaugurated in January. That's when he actually takes office and starts his job. Um, like you said, all black people from Tennessee to California, basically almost from the whole country, across the country, almost from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States, people got text messages saying horrible racist things like the things you said earlier. Go back to the plantation. That's so despicable. I hate repeating it. Um, some of these people who received the text were minors. Some of the people who received the text on their phone, and if I'm correct, we're not talking about spam in your email. We're talking a text on your phone. Text the phone number, not an internet messenger. Your phone, SMS text message, and their name was mentioned. So it wasn't just uh, uh, hey you racist thing. It was like hey you Jennifer Doe, whatever your name is, but the name was accurate, and then the racist thing followed. And then this guy in Canada who's in a similar business, who's in the same industry that you are in, Abby. He was hosting a Zoom call, and somebody hacked into the Zoom call and apparently appeared, like their face appeared, and they started saying racist things. Okay, so now having said that, Abby, if it's okay with you, can you please share what
Sure.
happened to you?
Yeah, so it was about 2 days after the election when that news came out about those racist texts being blasted out across the country. And according to the news that I was watching, I watched ABC, NBC, CNN, and those are in the U.S., and then CBC in Canada. They had only named a handful of states, 20 or 24 or 25 different states. But since then, I think it's been
Well,
everyone,
that's
and they
half the
didn't mention
country.
Canada. Yeah, but
25
it's more than that
states.
because I've talked to people from all over the place. It's every yeah. I mean, I'm saying it's everywhere, but I could be wrong. But even if it's only 25 states and Canada, because it's also happening in Canada, okay? Because the story that you just recounted was about my client. What you were just talking about was my client, who we support with our virtual assistants. So to your audience, I have a virtual assistant agency that I run, and my team is here in the Philippines. So our clients are around the world. Our VAs are here in the Philippines, and we got clients
Do
all
you
around.
mind, Abby? Do you mind just telling, only if you want to, the name of your
Sure.
business?
Yeah, Money Garden, just like it sounds. Moneygarden.ca. Go to our website, look us up on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. You'll find us there. MoneyGram. Sorry, MoneyGram. We receive payments by MoneyGram. Moneygarden.ca is the name of the agency. So anyway, so we have this client of ours that's in Canada, and we have two VAs that are working for him, helping him with his business. So they do their thing, and life is great, and we're just it's just a business as usual, helping this gentleman promote his business. So he happens to be a Jamaican Canadian living in Toronto, Canada. Now, our team had helped prepare a webinar for him, and he has a series of webinars coming up and other stuff that he was planning to promote his business. And they held their first masterclass session 3 days ago, I believe, on the 14th. Yes, the 14th. So today's, what, I don't even know what day it is today. 17th.
Today's the
What's
16th.
today?
It's
16th, excuse me. So
16th.
yeah, so
Yeah.
two days ago. Sorry.
In Canada, it's the 15th, after 11 p.m.
Yeah.
In Asia, and just to let the audience know, Philippines, Taiwan, Beijing, we're all in the same time zone. It's already Saturday afternoon. Anyway,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
16th.
we're 12 hours ahead. 12 hour. I'm in Philippines. I'm 12 hours ahead of New York City, Miami, and Toronto, Canada. Okay, so anyway, so we held the master class. It was an online event. There was, I don't know how many guests present. There was more than 20 people there, and that's it. We were just doing our thing. He was promoting his business. It was a 30-minute show, and about 25 minutes into the show, the Zoom call got hacked. And when the call got hacked, the hackers hijacked the control panel and were posting pornographic images, and they were voiceovering, and all the racial slurs started coming out, and also naming the host being my client, the Jamaican Canadian. They said his name, and they were directing their insults at him. And they also named my two virtual assistants, who are Filipinas, and more racial insults were hurled towards them, and then insert more pornography. It went on for about four minutes. We were completely hijacked, and so needless to say, we had to cancel the meeting, shut it all down, and run for cover. And that was it. And then it was apologizing to the guests, and dealing with what you can imagine, a guest who's attending a webinar, an information seminar, just to have a few minutes of an information seminar, and then you're having to see and hear that. Now, thankfully, all of the guests, everybody who participated, across the board, they were horrified. They were horrified, and for us, they were horrified, but they were more concerned about us and asking us if we were okay, because we were the ones putting ourselves out there, and then for this to happen, they're like, "Are you guys okay? Like, don't basically reassuring us that in spite of what happened, don't let that affect what it was we were trying to do as far as business was concerned, because we were just there running a promotional event for our client's business." So that was that. Now the client, who is, like I said, a Jamaican Canadian, who happens to be a high school buddy of mine, who I've known since high school. I've known him for over 30 years. So this is someone I've known for a long time. And we exited the webinar, and then we went immediately to our team meeting because of the two virtual assistants that were on the call. Now, these two young ladies live in the Philippines. Neither of them have ever traveled outside of the Philippines. And when the four of us huddled together at the end of it, when the four of us huddled together to discuss what had happened, they were really upset. Their voices were shaking. There were tears in their eyes. They were really upset, never having been assaulted like this. They've never been assaulted like this. And what was, how can I put this? So the client and I, when we were addressing this with them in our call, we had it was a video call. He and I were smiling, and we were smiling and talking about it, just because we're so accustomed to being assaulted like this, that when it happened, we're like, you know what? It's like, oh, come on, man! Like, what are you guys doing here? Like, just like, what the hell is this, man? Like, for us, it's just like, it didn't upset me. It annoyed me and it irritated me, and yeah, I guess okay. Did it upset me? Yeah, I guess it did, but I wasn't affected like the two virtual assistants were. So that conversation is really what has stuck with me since everything that has happened, because after we had the call, I had to talk to them some more because they support my friend's business, Andres, but they work for me. Like they're VAs in my agency, so I'm also responsible to them for their well-being, to make sure that, as a company, like what is my position on this, like what the heck's going on, like. So I had to have that conversation with them, and it's like it reminded me of talking to my children when they were young. Right now my VAs are older, they're adults, um, but talking to them about this racism, it was like talking to my children all over again, trying to explain to them that when you are associating with black people, okay, you need to understand that associating yourselves with black people when you are living in Canada or the United States, you have to understand that there's going to be people, and they're usually white people. Now, it's not always white people, but it usually is, and it often is, right? That because you are associating yourself with black people, you are going to be subjected to the same racial attacks that we have to endure. They're like, what do you mean? I said, if you live in Canada or the United States and you're not black and you have a friend who is black, then you are associated as being part of them. So you get to feel the heat and the brunt of whatever racial attacks that would be coming my way, or my client's way, or anybody else who's black. If so, for you, for example, Andres, Latino, you're hanging out with me at the club. Someone starts, hurling racial insults at all the black guys in the group. You might be the only one there that's not, but you get to be a part of that too. You one of us now, so you get to be the one to have to answer. Are you an N lover? Oh, look, you're an N lover. You know what that is, right? An N lover, right? So this is what it is. So I had to explain to my VAs what an N lover was, a Negro lover. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, and it was just silence. They were just sitting there. They were silent. They weren't even talking. And I'm like, girls, I'm really sorry that this happened and that you are subjected to this. But all that, so then I asked them, I said, did you learn in school about slavery and the African slaves in America and all this? And they're like, yeah, we learned about it and we heard about it and we saw stuff in the news, but we never like thought it was like that. I'm like, oh no, it's like that. It's like that. And you just now, because you are associating with black people, now you get to taste a little bit of it. So in the end, we all decided as a group that we're not going to let this stop us from what we're doing, and it's just, for whatever, backward never. Just like Jimmy Cliff, the artist, said. And they said, you know what, we can we just stop talking about it? I said, yes, we can stop talking about it, but there's one more thing that you also need to know, okay? And it's this: we don't ever have to talk about this again, and if we're never faced with this again, then great. But please understand that I don't get to do that. You get to do that because you're not black. Steve and I, the client, when we wake up tomorrow, we can't wash our skin off and change our hair, right? So please understand that, right? They're like, they were just really upset. They were so upset. And then the next day I had to check in with them again, and they're still upset. It's only been a couple of days. They're still upset, but we getting back to work, and life is going on. So in any case, you and I, Andres, had talked about getting together to do this, another episode of their podcast. And I'm like, when you and I talked about creating a segment called Say What? Some of these crazy things that you hear people say, and you have to stop yourself and you like, what? Did you actually just say that? Just like when in the campaign before the election was over, when that comedian at the Trump rally in Madison Square Garden referred to Puerto Rico as being a floating pile of hot garbage in the Caribbean. It's like when people from the Caribbean, we hear that, we're like, say what? Say what? Right? Or when he says things like,
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
Caribbean people in Ohio, the Haitian immigrants, are kidnapping people's cats and dogs and eating them. We like say what, right? So this is what it is. So black
Yeah.
folks are living on islands that are hot garbage. We eat people's cats and dogs, right? And then now all these like stuff is coming out with this texting and all this hacking and all this sort of stuff. And then, when the Trump campaign was approached, because in these robocalls they were identifying themselves as Trump associates, right? Of course, when they went back to the Trump campaign, they're like, "Oh, we know nothing of this." Yeah, okay, right, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
as if we haven't been enduring this for the last five
Yeah.
hundred
And
years.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I interrupted you. Sorry. What were you going to say?
No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, that's
So
okay.
in
Go
any
ahead. Go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
so yeah. So I mean, they come out with this stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever. Just like to me, it's like like I already know. I'm not like I am not going to let somebody pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. If you look like a duck and you walk like a duck and you're quacking, you're a duck. Okay. And I'm not so worried about him. And when I say him, I mean Donald Trump. I'm not really worried so much about him per se because I really don't care. I really don't care who gets elected because one, I'm not an American, right? So I don't have a vote. But even if I could vote, I wouldn't vote because who am I going to vote for? Right? The other one who's an overseer, you got the other one on the other side who's like an overseer on the plantation, right? Who's no better, right? Who's better, the one who owns the plantation or the overseer that's whooping Kunta Kinte and telling him his name is Toby, right? Like, you're all the same to me, right? And I'm talking about Kamala Harris, who's enabling genocide, who even until now still hasn't come out and spoken out and done anything to try and stop it. Okay, so overseer, plantation owner, we've seen this script. It's the same script. It's just different actors. Okay? So it's not a matter about who got elected. I don't care who got elected. What I care about are the 78 million people that voted for him and the 60 whatever 73 million people. I think it was 73 million for Kamala and 78 million for Trump. That is 151 million people who are okay with genocide, at least. At the very least, they're okay with genocide. The Kamala supporters, well, maybe they're not on with the racism, right? Because most black folks that are voting for her because of that are more consumed with the own racism that they have to deal with every day, that they can't see beyond their own borders because of what they have to endure every day, just being black in America, right? Never mind those people over there that are being killed with my tax dollars. I just need to be able to walk to the street corner without being worried about getting shot by some cop because I'm black. I can understand that, but at the end of the day, Malcolm X got it right. There's no north and there's no south in the United States. If you're south of the Canadian border, you're south. Malcolm X. If you're south of the Canadian border, you're south. There is no, I don't care if it's red or blue, Democrat or Republican, right? When you're black, you're colored, whatever you are, you're not part of the club. Like George Carlin said, there is a big club out there, and you're not in it. Okay? That includes me, that includes you, and the others who are in the minority by far, by far. Right? Do you think that I don't want to get into I'm about to get into the whole Gaza thing, but I'll just say this. Do you think that Kamala Harris would have talked about Gaza if she thought that would help her win the election? Of course she would. But she didn't think that it would, and so she didn't, and then she didn't, and then she lost. Right? So this is all part and parcel of the mindset of the institutionalized white supremacist mindset, and that includes the overseers, right? I don't know why the image of Condoleezza Rice just came in my head for some reason. I don't know why. When I think about overseers, like she's always been someone to me that just when I say
Yeah.
the word overseer, all of a sudden like I don't know
Oh my
why
God.
Condoleezza Rice is just like pops in my head, right? So when I think of Kamala Harris, Condoleezza Rice, like Obama and all the rest of them, overseers, right? Overseers, right? Now, some would argue that having a black woman be elected as president would advance the cause of black people and women and minorities, right? Floating, what do they call it? Rising tides floats all the boats, right? Nah, nah, because if we know our history, we know that those slaves, those same black people in America, the only reason that they're there is because there was other black people in Africa that were helping the white slavers. Those white slavers weren't going into the jungles catching LeBron James and Shaq and those guys in the jungle, running around in the jungle. You think any of those white dudes are going to go out there catching LeBron and those guys? When I say LeBron, what I mean is when we go back to the jungles of Africa, imagine that, because these are the descendants of the slaves. Do you think of Mike Tyson's ancestors, some dude's going to just go and grab him and put a chain on him? No, you got to bring, everybody else to get him shackled up. There would have been no slave trade unless the other black people helped them, right? That's the truth. Why I'm not interested in reparations conversations, which is idiotic and disingenuous, ill-informed and misinformed. I said it because until someone can say to me that black folks didn't help those other black folks get into slavery, I don't want to hear about it unless those governments in Africa are participating in the reparations, of which I am a descendant of those same slaves. So if I happen to be a Fulani tribe, which I think I am, but who knows, right? But let's just say that I am. Is the Sudanese government, the Nigerian government, the Namibian government, is one of those governments going to give me my 40 acres and a mule? Where are they? Where are their voices? Right? So I'm not interested in reparation conversations either, unless those Negroes are at the table with their checkbook and a parcel of land. Then I can choose. Do I want to partake or not? Right? And I might, or I might not. Right? But any conversation doesn't include them is not a conversation that makes any sense at all. Okay? And it's just self-serving selfishness and greed from people that just want, they want money, but they don't want justice. They want money, but they don't want justice. Because if any black person who's talking about reparations and they're not talking about Africa and holding those Negroes accountable, you're not talking about justice. You're talking about your pocketbook and a way to get money into it. If it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it's quacking, it is a duck. Same script, different actors. That's how we got on the boats in the first place. Okay? So I went to another country and I asked permission to stay. I'm not Filipino. I asked permission, can I stay here? And I was granted permission, I'm here. You see how that works? See how easy that is when you're a guest on somebody else's land? Right? I got married, I got a family here now, I'm going through my process to get paperwork, all of that stuff. I didn't just come here with whatever boats and armies and just take, right? This is how we have America. This is how we have Canada. This is how we have a state of Israel. None of this is new. Same script, different actors, and then all this other stuff that happens in between is just part and parcel of an institutionalized racism that's trying to keep us enslaved mentally, emotionally, right? By fear-mongering, getting us to close our shops up, to not speak too loud, to not come on a podcast 3 days later and say, go F yourself, right? Not coming out, they don't want us coming out and saying things like, don't hack us anonymously. Come to the event and show us your face. Okay? And we can settle it just like Muhammad Ali, my mentor, taught us. We can have conversation, or we can go over here to the parking lot and we can just sort this out. But you see, they don't want to do that because that's not what cowards do, right? They hide behind their hoods, right? See, it's like the KKK's. This is the new version of the white hood, right? Anonymous handles on Facebook, anonymous handles on Zoom, internet anonymity is the new white hood of the KKK. No, be like Trump. Say your racism. I respect him for that. I respect him for that. I respect the guy that's going to say, you know what? I think I'm better than you, and I think you are from an asshole country, and you eat dogs, and even though I know I'm lying, but this is what I think, and how do you like that? And take it or leave it. I can deal with that. I can deal with you, right? What I can't deal with is overseers, right, who come pandering, and then I'm like, huh? Man, Andres, I could go on about this. You said we only have. I always do this to you, bro. You get me talking about this stuff. It's like I don't even let you get a word edgewise, but it's like, say what? Say what? Oh, same script,
Say
different.
what?
Same script, different. Say what? Same script, different actors, and these guys want to come along and like act like we're stupid, and we're just supposed to just go along with it and just like what? Say nothing. It's like, man. I don't even know anymore. I'm just happy that I made my choice to come
well,
and live in the Philippines.
Yeah, yeah, and there's actually there's quite a bit that you said, Abby, and there's so much that we can unpack on that. We can talk about Gaza, but it really is. Well, everyone needs to know that anti-black racism is not just an American thing, a Canadian thing. It is all over the world. You talk to black people who have traveled, they have experienced racism. There was that time where Oprah went into this high-end store to buy a purse in
Italy.
Sweden, I think,
Or
in Italy. Yeah, and then she got they gave her trouble about that. They didn't know she was Oprah, and just you're absolutely right about what it is associating with black people that does happen to you, and you shouldn't have to, but should you? I mean, as a business person, should you tell your non-black clients this? And look, one time, this is really quickly a true story. I was in a car and I was driving a car, and in front of me was my friend who is black driving another car. And to make a long story short, he got pulled over by the cops, and I don't know if I told you the story or not, but I at first I laughed and I thought, aha, look at him, he got a ticket. And then suddenly, this was, by the way, this was around 2010, I think. I'm not sure exactly when. I forget. This was in Sacramento. So yes, I am attacking the Sacramento Police Department in Sacramento, California. If you don't, the Sacramento Police Department in Sacramento. But this was in Sacramento. California. They pulled him over. Yeah. I got scared that they were going to Sacramento PD kill him. Doesn't like it. And so I found a place to park. I ran to the parking scene, and to make a long story short, I got handcuffed and detained illegally by the Sacramento Police Department. I got Officer Martinez or Officer Marquez. If you're listening to me, you illegally detained me without kill him. And so I contact my lawyer. Found a place to park. I ran and detained or Officer Marquez. If you're listening to me, contact my lawyer for over 20. Officer Marquez. I forget your name, but are you still 5 feet tall and still bicycle cop for the Sacramento Police Department? You were back then. Remember me? Anyway, no, but it's to your point. When you when you associate, you just cannot win if you're black. Because I shouldn't say that, but I mean, I'm saying that to express if you're black, the cops will bother you. If they will bother your non-black friends, they will bother you even if you are in the Philippines and a successful business person. Even if you are like one of the most richest and famous people in the world, like Oprah, they're not going to let you buy a purse. A purse. I mean, yeah. So, and it. I don't want to say that this is Trump's fault, but when he talks the way he does, he makes other people feel like, oh, it's okay for me to do things like have Abby's business meeting and say all these things and potentially traumatize these your non-black employees. So it's like an explosion, and it doesn't discriminate. I mean, it starts with the black individual, and then it just expands to black individuals, families, friends, community, outside community of the black community. We just gotta the be and I'm not saying for Trump. Everyone who voted for Trump voted for him because what I'm saying is whatever reason you voted for him, and some people did vote for him because they're in economic hardship. Every reason you voted for him, and they rightly or wrongly blame Biden, so that's why they voted for Trump. There are other reasons they voted for Trump. But you gotta understand, voting for a guy like this, you are contributing to an environment where something like happened to you and to other people in the country will happen. It's not your fault. Hold on. It's not your fault if you voted for Trump because you didn't make that phone call or text, unless you did vote for Trump and you did make that that text phone call. But we have to. These are the things that we have to consider. We have to consider unintended consequences when things like this happen. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, man, please do.
All right.
Yeah, man, please do.
If three guys go into a bank and rob it, commit all manner of atrocity, steal the money, run out, jump in the car, and there's a fourth person who's driving the getaway car. Now, the person driving the getaway car wasn't holding a gun, didn't kill or shoot anybody, didn't even touch the money. All they did was drive the getaway car. Should that person go to jail?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's a word for that, and the word is accomplice. Right? Now, were they aware that a crime was being committed? The answer is yes. So, why am I asking you this question? And what is this analogy? Right? Just because
Yeah, I
you're
get
not
the
holding
analogy.
the gun.
I get it.
Right. So you see, those 78 million people who voted for him who want to say, but I have a black friend. And you know what? It's just because he's good for the economy. It's you know what? It's okay if he said that he's grabbing women by the genitals. It's okay that he was found guilty of was it sexual assault? I forget what the exact charge was with E. Jean Carroll. Yeah, it's to me it's the same as the getaway driver of the robbery. You are an accomplice because you were aware of the crimes. And you participated by helping him escape. You get jail time too. No pass for you. Nah. You see, they're all in on it. And it's because of their own selfish. Because why is someone? If you're the driver of the getaway car, Andres, right? do you get a share of the money? If you actually get away, if you drive and you actually escape the cops and you get away, do you not get a share of the money? Of course you do, or else why would you drive the getaway car, right? I wouldn't be voting for this guy if there wasn't something in it for me. There's no difference. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Just like the other ones who were voting for the genocide enabler, right? Her hands are bloody, actively endorsing genocide, and you voted for her. You are an accomplice in genocide. Same. They're all the same. All of them. So that's not just 78 million people who voted for Trump. That's what I was saying earlier. There's the 73 million that voted for her. 151 million people. And that, my friends, is America. That is America. So when they say make America great again, it looks to me that they're still great. What do you mean make America great again? They're the same America they've always been. What are you talking about? Make it great again. What's the difference from now, from 5 years from now ago to before? Well, we don't have change. I guess that's some improvement, right? We're not actually on the cotton plantation anymore. So yeah, okay. Is that what they mean? They're saying they want to go back to that because those text messages were just saying the bus is coming to pick us up to take us back to the plane. Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay, right. They do want to bring that back. Oh, so that's when America was great, when we had that. Oh, okay. Okay. So you see, they're all criminals. And when I say they, I mean the people who voted for them too. Right? Because if you ticked a box for someone that's enabling genocide, you're driving the getaway car. Because if she won the election and she had chosen to continue with the genocide, that blood's on your hands too. Right? If we're talking about Gaza. Right? If we're talking about anything else. You see where I'm going with this? This is what America is. So I'm not an American.
It is. Yeah.
I'm not an American, so I'm looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
And now I don't even live in North America anymore, so I'm even further detached from it. And I'm looking at this place and I'm like, I just had a chat with a good friend of mine this morning who lives in Toronto, an old friend of mine. We're chit-chatting, long time no see, how you doing? Kind of like what you and I do. And she's like, oh, so are you going to come back to Canada? I'm like, why? Why? Well, I don't understand. Like, why? Don't you miss it? I miss you and I miss a few friends, but you guys can come to the Philippines because there's nothing there. Just like Kunta Kinte said, America you will never be my home. Just like Canada will never. It never was our home, right? And then it's just sad to me that I see all these people there that are trying so hard to fit in. They're trying so hard to assimilate. They're trying so hard. And I can empathize with that because I was once one of them, right? It took a lot of beatings. It took a lot of abuse for me to finally find the courage to leave my abuser. It's like, what do they call that? Stockholm syndrome, when you start to have empathy for your abuser. Then all these like feelings of empathy and you start feeling sorry for people. It's like, oh, he's not so bad. She's not so bad. It's only genocide. I'll vote for her anyway. Oh, he only grabs girls by the vagina. I'll vote for him anyway. Isn't that what Stockholm syndrome is? Where you start to like empathize with your abuser. So I forgot. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. This is like far beyond my pay grade, right? You see. So I feel sorry for these people, okay? Because I was once one of them. But eventually, I'm like, you know what? These abusers are never going to change. I have to change. I have to change, right? Because they're not going to change. Right? And if we look at history, the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, and empire after empire eventually all crumbled on top of itself. House of cards, right? What, we don't think that's not going to happen here? Of course it is. $17 trillion of debt, or whatever, how much trillion dollars of debt? Look at the place. Look at the living conditions of the masses of the population. Look at how many people are eating out of food banks in Canada. I was just reading the news story how there's more people eating out of food banks than there ever has been. Talk to a common Canadian right now. How's life living in Canada? You're just going to hear it like everybody's screaming, and trying to find somebody to blame. But maybe it's not the government's to blame, right? Remember what George Carlin said? Maybe it's not the government. Maybe it's not the publics. Maybe it's not the politicians. Maybe it's us. Maybe we suck. It's like there's a campaign slogan: "The public sucks. Fuck hope." Right? George Carlin. I don't want to claim that one as my own. So you see, so the collective uh, voice that needs to be heard needs to be in enough numbers that the politicians have no choice but to act on what we're asking. But there are nowhere near enough voices, and we just saw that. We just saw that. There is a genocide being committed in front of the world right now, and the people that are supplying the weapons could stop that today. They could stop it today. It could all end right now. It could all end with a phone call. Right now, it could end right now, but that's not what's happening because both parties knew there weren't enough people in America that give a crap about those people over there. They're more concerned about their own livelihoods, no matter who else's lives have to be sacrificed for them to have that livelihood. You see? Right. So that's why it's not changing. It's not the politicians. It's the public. It's the people. Carlin was right. The people. It's the public sucks. And we're circling the drain, folks. We're circling the drain. COVID was never the virus. The virus is us. There would be no COVID for us. Where it's using the planet laboratory, regardless of how that code ended up here. It ended it here because of us. You see? So where do we go from here? I don't know. Doing podcasts and like talking to each other and hoping that enough people hear this conversation and start having better conversations with people around them in their own lives. Start looking in the mirror. How about that? How about the man in the mirror? Start asking yourself to change your ways. You know what I mean? It's hard, but we start like there's not enough people that are doing that. People want to talk about abundance and mindset and all this sort of stuff that I'm working on myself, trying to find my best self so that I can have more stuff. I don't know why George Carlin. I've been just like on a George Carlin thing today. You remember he joked, he talked about having stuff, right? Why about everyone's trying to collect stuff and we want to have a bigger. Everyone wants a bigger house because they keep collecting more stuff. And it's just all about who has the most stuff. Like where everybody's just trying to get more stuff. Right? So all this abundance mindset and all this personal development and self-improvement is so that people can get more stuff. It's not about how can I make the world a better place, right? It's about how can I get more stuff. It's just so self-centered and ego-driven. It's just like until we are willing, we people, human beings, are willing to have real conversations with ourselves, nothing else is going to matter because we are having how many typhoons a week now? We're having how many volcanoes around? What the earth is freaking falling apart. It's like they call it speed wobble. In the Caribbean, we have a term we call it "ting them a speed wobble." When things them a speed wobble, you know what that means, bro? When things them a speed wobble, it means it's going so fast, it's like spinning so fast, and it starts to wobble. At any minute, it's just going to start falling apart. Right? Things them a speed wobble. It's like it's just spinning around so fast. Eventually, it's just going to spin right off its axis, right? And it's all going to like spin off into who knows where, right? We just need to look at the environment. Look at the environment. Nature is speaking to us every single day. Look at the global warming. It's not complicated. Nature doesn't lie. Anybody can listen to me right now and say, man, that guy's full of crap, man. That guy's full of crap over there, like Andres. What the hell you got this guy in your show? They don't know what they talk about, man. What they talking about over there? Okay, great. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, then just look at the freaking weather patterns. That has nothing to do with me. I can't control the weather patterns. Look at what's going on around you. Just look at it, man. Water is rising, ice is melting, rain's not stopping. We had these hurricanes that keeps lashing over there. Lash and a lash and a lash. Enough lashes. Lash them. That's something else we love to say in the Caribbean. When people misbehave on an island, we like to say, boy, let me give them some lashes. They need more lash. They need a lashing, right? Give them a good lash. You get a good arse whipping, right? So all them like hurricanes, that they're getting over there, they're getting their lashes. They need more. They need I wish there's a category 8. I wish a category 8 storm could come and just, I wish there was a way that you can just like if there was a way, if I could control the weather, right? If I could, I wish there was a way that you can like send a typhoon that can just suck up the racists and the pedophiles and the drug dealers and the chauvinists and the anarchists, just suck them up into a effing vortex and take them to the phantom zone. You ever watch Superman? You know, Kal-El would just send people to the phantom zone. He would just send them off to the phantom zone, and that's it. You could just go there. Just go over there, right? Carlin used to talk about he's going to seal off 4 states in America. Seal it off with a big, 10-foot high barbed wire steel fence, right? And then you're going to put the rapists, the drug dealers, the crazy people, and the whatever. And then you're going to just have them all, just put them all in one, just take all these losers, put them all in one place and fence them in. If there's a way we could do that, my goodness, that's my utopia. That would be my that would be my utopia. But you know what? Seems to me you're gonna need a pretty big fence, because when you got 151 million people voting for genocide and grabbing women by the genitalia, you're gonna need a pretty big zoo. Or maybe they already are living in a zoo. Maybe the whole place is the zoo. Maybe we don't need to make a fence, Andres. Maybe we should just leave them there and leave, right? And then watch the show, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm here watching the show with today I had what I have today, mango and papaya, fresh mangoes, the mangoes, the papaya, and the bananas that I was eating today, freshly picked. The King of England doesn't eat better than me. The fish what I eat is fresh catch from the ocean from this morning, right? Fish from the ocean this morning. So I'm eating the best I've ever eaten in my life, and just being here singing karaoke daily, eating rice. I eat too much rice, but you know what? And I'm watching this show. Going back to what I was saying to my 2 VAs when they couldn't comprehend. When I told my wife what happened, she's like, "Huh? I don't understand." And I'm like, "Just watch this news." She was watching the news with me about the CNN texting. She's like, "I don't want to." She's like, "I don't want to see this anymore." I said, "Yeah, you see that? You don't want to see it anymore, but I can't. I still have to be black tomorrow, right? It's very nice that you don't want to watch that, but I have to watch that because I need to know, right? What's coming my way next, right? Is it now? It's like, okay, right? So
Abby,
then, yes.
Abby.
Sorry.
Abby. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. It's just that I would love to continue, but we're running out of time. And so before we do run out of time, I just want to thank you, Abby, very much. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you're not watching it live, that's fine. Thank you for watching. Please share this video. Please like. Please subscribe. Please turn on bell notifications. More to come soon, hopefully. And Abby, thanks again. Anything you want to say or plug before we end?
Post more content, Andres. The world needs to hear more from more people, not just me. They need to hear it from you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. Because when I met you in Davao City, Philippines, and you told me about your podcast, I said to you, "That's nice," but I just wasn't interested in having anything to say. And then you said to me, "We have to say something. We have to do something." And then I'm like, man, really? So because of you,
You're like,
yeah.
You're like, "Man, this Guatemalan mofo, what's he, I feeling so irate, why he giving me aggravation?" Right?
Because yeah, you get your moderation in my ass. So because of you, one person was activated. Your activism activated one person. Maybe my activism will activate 2 people. And what if their activism activates more people? And then what if we have 151 million plus 1? Right? Then we can have change. So God bless you, sir. Post more content and invite me out here more often, and others too. Okay?
Okay, man.
God bless you, brother.
Yes, definitely.
Later.
All right, that was my dear friend Abby. Thank you very much, everyone. And to the director, I think we can end it now.